Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to go through my finalized trades ahead of round 8 for AFL SuperCoach. Let's get into it. I promise I'm working on a proper intro. So, as I said last video, I'm going to be going with Sam Cumming and Tom Burton. Those two are my primary picks. However, this still could change when team sheets come out. If we look at, I think, what is definitely dictating these trades for me and a lot of other people, I think is the rookies for next year and the rookies on the bubble. So go to less than 3 matches, narrow it down to about 220K. There are a few. No one's going to get Jamara. I think Jed Busslinger is one that a lot of people are looking at. I was looking at for a while as well. Sam Cumming is a lock. He's got a super consistent role. And then apart from maybe William Edwards, there aren't really that many other options in here. There's also Tom Burton. No one's really looking at Paddy Cross, Billy Cootie, Oliver Hayes-Brown, Connor McKenna, disappointed in his second match. And then next round, apart from Liam Henry, there aren't many options. It's Cody Curtin, he only got 29. Nick Cox got 42. Liam O'Connell got 48. So there's not that many options. And for me, my reasoning on why I'm going with the likes of a Tom Burton over getting a Premo in and waiting for Liam Henry is, A, there's 60K to be saved there, and that's 60K is very valuable. But then B, I'm not sure if Liam Henry will back this up. Like, there's less of a certainty with this, and there's more of a certainty with Tom Burton. And I don't want to take that risk because as someone who has used every possible trade, it's not looking good. And I want to be as safe as possible, which is why I'm going with a Burton over the likes of a Busslinger, who I could put Busslinger on field, swing Myers down to the mid-bench, and get maybe 30 points a game more, or I could break even. Or Tom Myers could outscore Selwood, or he could get dropped. We don't know. There's so much ambiguity around some of these rookies. Like Tom Myers, what happens with him? What happens with Sardis? Does he get picked back up? Does Scott pull his thumb out of his ass? What about Anderson? What about Marshall? There's so much questions. And so I want to play it as safe as possible. Tom Burton isn't really as safe as possible, but I just like getting that cheap rookie in now. And if Liam Henry does well, I can always alter my trade plans to get him in. And so speaking of the trade plans, I want to go to the spreadsheet, which I've got up here. And I've made some changes because, of course, players have done better, players have done worse. And this is what I have so far. So for next round, after round 9, which is this current weekend, I am planning on bringing in Merritt and Callahan in a double upgrade. Of course, this could change if Henry does really well and there doesn't look like another rookie for after round 10. I could always bring in Liam Henry and then move maybe Merritt or Callahan to this second matchup, depending on who has the better matchup. But I think this is what I'm planning for now. Probably going to trade out Josh Lindsay because if we look at his projected scores, if he scores an 80 next round, his break even goes up to 79, basically meaning he's capped out in price. And he's got one more big price rise, one more game with this 132 in the price cycle, and then 8 stops, basically. I think this is going to be the week to sell him after this week. I mean, you can keep him because he will play, and there might be other rookies that don't do as well. And if we look back at this, I have about 85K wiggle room. So there's a lot of space there because I'm assuming Merritt drops, because we look at Merritt, he's going to drop quite a bit. I'm kind of glad I didn't bring him in that week, although that week I did bring in Sardis. He's 156. He's going to drop quite a bit. up against the Giants, I think there is a very tangible scenario where he does get a 114 drop to 577. But I'm giving him a bit of wiggle room, pricing him at 585. And then Finn Callahan, I have at 505. I think that's about 6K more than he is now, but he's got a break even of 124. And I'm also trading out Myers. Don't want him. If he scores well, then I might keep him. Might also keep Lindsay. Maybe I could look to trade out a McAndrew, or I could trade out a Bruin because I'm trading out Bruin here. I've got flexibility, and this is something I've prioritized in this, and why I've really only gone to after round 15 instead of after round 16, because, of course, I don't know what rookies I'm going to get in, if they're going to do well or not. And the next round is a round I'm worrying about, because Grundy, we don't know what price is going to be. He could be anywhere from 640K to 700K. And so it's really hard to predict, because if we look at him, not Grundy. Grundy, he's 695 right now. He is the form ruckman in the competition, but he's coming up against another form ruckman in Tristan Cherry. Now, he scored a 153 last time, but then the 2 times before, where I think Cherry was rucking both these times, he scored a 113 and a 121. Now, I'm going to assume he scores, I'm going to say a 120. I'm going to say he's had a couple rough games in terms of rucks. I think English might not have played that round. But I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to be the opposite of conservative, actually. I'm going to be hopeful and hope that he scores a 120. And then I'm going to hope that he also scores a 120 against the dual ruck matchup of Steen and Decam. That gets him to 670. That's not good. He's going to be really expensive. But then if we look at the run, you've got Geelong, then you've got Richmond. Is Nank back by that time? We'll see when we look at the injury list. But if he's not, that's an easy matchup. That's an easy 150. That should also be an easy 150. And then he's been getting 150s against other opponents. He did it against the Dogs, did it against West Coast. I'm not sure about the Dogs, who they had. I'll actually check that now. But if we look at the other scores, he's just dominant. And he's also getting his points so many other ways. So we look here, they didn't have him. They had Lachlan Smith. So it was a very good matchup for him, Smith and Emmett. Then again, the next 2 matchups after these next 2 matchups, the 11 and 12 got easy ruckman. 13, not sure. 14, I'm not sure how well he'll do against Sweet and Visentini. I mean, to be fair, it's actually a bit of a harder matchup, a bit of a harder run for him, because he's got Brisbane, he's got Dogs, Freo, but it's Brodie Grundy. Like, he got 135 against one of the best 1-2 ruck matchups in the comp in Hawthorn. He got a 130 against Gawn. He got 136 against GWS. Got 124 against the Suns. Got a ceiling of 190 plus, which he definitely could hit in these 2 games. So I think I want to get him, and I want to plan to get him in that round. Go back. The round after that, I'm getting in Isaac Heaney. This is the same as my other one, because Heaney is another form player of the competition. If we look at the averages, he's averaging the 4th most, just below Luke Jackson. But his next couple games are a bit concerning. It's like the same next couple games as Grundy, because of course I play for the same team. But you got Finn O'Sullivan in this game at Marvel. He's got a high score of 197, which I think he scored last year. But Finn O'Sullivan is now a tagger. And we can have a look at how well he clamped other opponents. We look at round 8 for AFL matchups. We look at, they played Geelong. Baz scored a 97. That's low for Baz's average. And It was a lot more. He sort of came good in the final quarter, but it wasn't a good score from Baz. Look to round 7. Where is he? There he is. He clamped down on Finn Callahan, only restricting him to a 66. One more round back, and we get Richmond. No one to tag in Richmond. Round 5, I think he wasn't playing then. But if we look all the way back to like round 1, we can see the tagging jobs he did, because I think he's against Port Adelaide. He clamped Zach Butters, restricted into a sub-ton. Round 2, I'm not sure if he got injured in this game or if it was the other game. I think he got injured this game. So he's clamped Bailey Smith. He's clamped Zach Butters. Is he going to clamp Heaney? I reckon so. And I reckon if we look at the scores the others got, I mean, Finn Callahan was a really low score. I think a 95 would be optimistic for Heaney owners. So 95. Then Collingwood, I reckon we could look at a 120. That gets him down to 626. Of course, he's still going to drop a bit more. If he has another score similar to the Giants, and it's Collingwood, because I wouldn't put it past them to send some attention to him, because he's Isaac Heaney. And then maybe if he does a bit worse against the Roos and only scores an 85, because I fancy the Roos in this game at Marvel. I think they could be a sneaky shot. It's 617k. And what did I have him? I had him at 590. Oh, because you got another week as well. And then the other week is Oisin Mullen, which is a big one. So Oisin Mullen, I think, could be another 90. We could see 90, 90, and then a 120. I think this is 300. I think this is fair enough for Isaac Heaney. That gets him down to 590k, basically. With a break-even of 145, he's beating that against Richmond. We look how he did against West Coast. He got 156. And then a good midfield in Gold Coast, he destroyed them. So I think Heaney at around 600k, I think, is very achievable in the next couple rounds. I think definitely look to get him in then. And then the round after that, I'm going McCluggage, because I haven't been able to get him in here. And actually, no, this one, I think I changed this one. I think this might not be the most updated. I think I actually had... No, I did have Holmes here because he's got an easy run. I was considering Holmes or Merritt for this spot and then McCluggage and Callahan. But I'll look at Callahan now because... I'll look at McCluggage now. Because if we look at McCluggage, he's very cheap, yes. And he's got a low break-even. But he's got a less than ideal run. He's got Geelong, who tag. If he has a good score against Carlton, he might have a subpar score against Geelong. So let's say he goes 110 here. Geelong see that. They clamp him at the G. Because this is a must-win game for Geelong, who I think is a couple wins down. Brisbane, I think, a 4th. I think they'll clamp him. Maybe he goes at 85. That has him gaining about 8k. Giants, maybe they put a bit of attention into him, but he continues to recover. Have him go at 100. And then I think I had him after round 12, I believe it was. Yes, after round 12. Freo, I'll have him go 110. And then, actually, I'll have him go 110 all these rounds. Has him at 515. So if he goes 110 for the next 4 rounds, he's still only 515k. He might have a spike score in there. I've got him at 520k, I reckon. After round 12, I reckon that'll be a very good time to buy him. If a bit late, but better late than never. Then round 13, I've got Max Holmes. And the reason I've gone for Merritt over Holmes next week, because Holmes is very cheap. And if we go back, to my trade plans, Grundy and Heaney here are non-negotiable because you've got the Geelong matchup here, then you've got the Richmond matchup. I want to have both of them by round 12. And then it was Callahan, Merritt, Cluggage, and Holmes. And we've already looked at Cluggage. He doesn't have the best run. We look at Holmes. He's got a decently difficult run. He's got Collingwood, Brisbane, Sydney. Collingwood will be a bit tough, but I think he should still score well against them. Brisbane and Sydney are two of the form midfields in the competition. Brisbane just a stacked Sydney tag. Carlton, they've been putting attention into people lately. They put attention into Naz, which really ruined my round last round. Could they do the same for Max Holmes, or would it be Bailey Smith? Then I think I have him after round 13. So that includes the Adelaide game. Adelaide they're not that good of a midfield, but I wouldn't put it past them to put someone like Michael Annie onto Max Holmes because they've got a lot of athletes in that team. Do they have a lot of athletes? I'm not sure. But I can definitely see them trying to put someone onto Max Holmes. And then get him by the time he plays the Gold Coast. And it's an annoying run over the buys for the Geelong boys, which is why I think I'm getting him and Baz a bit later on. Because they got Gold Coast and they got Freo, Brisbane, Giants. Then the run opens up. You want to get both of them after the buys because this end of the year, Essendon, North, Richmond, sure, Foss tags, but he didn't do that well against Baz. Baz still almost got a ton, and they can't tag both of them. So I think this end of the year will be really good to own them both. But then if we look at Merritt, I just have a look at Sardis to see the teams he plays next. He's got an amazing buy run. He has Giants. Bedford might go to him. And then if Henry's looking good, I'll forego Merritt's Freo matchup. Then he's got Richmond, West Coast, Carlton, Melbourne, North, Saints. I like this run. He's got a pretty easy buy. But if we look at Bruin, for Geelong's buy, it's round 16, which is not a good buy. Because especially for me, round 16, Saints, Dogs, Geelong, and Melbourne. That's a lot of my team that's out. Of course, Philippou won't be here. Bruin won't be here. That's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Premos alongside the 2 Geelong boys, 7 and 8. I actually still have coverage everywhere, but it's less than ideal. And then I'm getting Baz in. I think we look at his break even. 191. He's going to plummet down. He's got hard matchups, as we looked at. I think 123 is definitely obtainable. I'll leave that at 114. Cops James Jordan. Is James Jordan able to run with him? I'll go 100. Beats up against Carlton. Beats up against Adelaide. Does he have a tougher one against Gold Coast? I'm not sure. I'll put it at a 110. And then that's when I'm getting him. I think just this streak of games will really hurt him, especially if he cops your James Jordan tag. He's still tunny in all of these games. After the Gold Coast matchup, he's 591. And I'm getting him around before his bye. Oh, no, I'm getting him around before his bye. It's not ideal, but I mean, if another option's there, and I'm confident Baz will maintain that low price for the next 2 rounds, 100% I'll go the other option. And then after round 15, I'm basically looking at anyone, because if we look down here at my structure, of course, I'll have 1 Premo left after this. It will most likely be a defender. I'm banking on Holmes getting DPP, which I think should happen now. Of course, I don't have a code sports subscription, so I can't check here. Callahan, Cluggage, Heaney, Baz will all 4 be midfielders. Grundy in the flex. Merritt might get DPP. It depends on, I think it might actually depend on if Sardis and Parrish come back this round, or just Parrish for replacing Caldwell. And if Merritt gets DPP, this is amazing. If he doesn't, then Merritt goes up here. And then I bring in maybe a Zach Bailey or a Rankin, because God, I couldn't spell his name then. Or just any forward Premo, because forward Primos are cheap. And so if I can't afford a 580k Premo, I could always go to a 550k. I could always go to a 550k forward and to save a lot of cash here. And all this time I'm getting, I think, oh no, that is a big miscalculation. That is not good. I forgot to put in the rookie here, which sort of screws everything up. But I have 5 trades and 1 spot to fill. I can always go, let's say, plus 250k here. And then minus another rookie. And then that drops to 6, that drops to 4. 4 trades to get 1 player in. I'm fine with that. Don't have that many sideways trades. Still Flanders, Took, and Clark would go. Took maybe less so. Probably move him down to here on this little chopping block. But I'm probably going to have to end the team with Flanders, which is not ideal, but I'm willing to take it. And then I've got a defensive Premo. That could be anyone, really. In terms of defensive Primos, I'm even less certain than I was the last couple of weeks, because if we look at who's done what, Sinclair's dropped like 2 stinkers in 3 weeks, or 3 stinkers in 4 weeks. Wilkie has dropped off a little bit. He's got a 105 against West Coast and then an 83 against Carlton. Archie Roberts, he hasn't stopped tunning, I think. He got a 140 on Anzac Day and then a 100 against Brisbane. But Mason Redmond's coming back. How does he affect Archie Roberts? And also, how does he affect Jacob Barrow if you're looking to try and hold him through this next couple of weeks? Luke Parker, not being good for Luke Parker owners. He got a 103 against Giants and then a 66 against Geelong. People still buying him then. Wouldn't buy him for these next couple matches, but maybe for round 14, 15, 16 onwards. This could be a good patch to get someone like a Luke Parker or an LDU or a Sheasel if you still don't have him somehow. Whitfield went from being kind of bad to kind of good. And I'm glad I got him for that 117. He had a bad start to the season, was averaging 89 for the first 3 games. Then 128, 102, 115, 123, 117. Got a good run coming up. Of course, has that bye, has the good bye. Naz, you don't know where he is, because I think the last 3 rounds have exemplified this. You know, average of 106. But if we look at the actual numbers, it's a 70, a 150, and then a 99. Lockie Ash has also been a bit cold. He's plummeted down a lot. I wouldn't begrudge anyone from getting him in if, let's say, you can't afford Whitfield and you want to defend a Primo. 3 non-tons in a row, but he's got a good run. Wayne Malira, I think a lot of people jumped on him early, then jumped off. Like you can see here, got the 142, jumped on him early, then started jumping off after the low scores. And he's been pretty serviceable after that. Josh Dacos, don't know what he's doing. He seems to be all over the place. Similar with Josh Worrell, started the season hot, sort of faltering now. Jordan Clark, similar, all over the place. Dan Houston, oh my God, not another one. I traded Clayton Oliver, and Clayton Oliver's gotten like 6 consecutive tons. Houston hasn't done that, but he's got 2 good scores. And yeah, I mean, he's got a decently difficult run coming up. Blakey, not sure how many people are going there. John Noble, not sure. Tom Stewart. Oh my God, I feel really bad for people who looked at this run. You got him at 528k. You're probably thinking yes, 111. Then shits the bet against West Coast. Shits the bet against the Dogs. Well against Port, but then poor against North. And he's got a decent run coming up. Yeah, it's not good. I'm not sure why. I mean, okay, yeah, I can understand why people are buying him here. But yeah, you don't know who of these top 11 or 12, to be generous and include Houston in that, are going to be the top Primos. We look at averages, it's the exact same, so no one's actually missed any matches. I still think Sinclair's going to be top. I think Whitfield, Naz will be up there. I think Ash will be up there. Those 4, I think, are locked in. Does Jordan Clark turn it back? Because he was looking really good. Hopefully he does, because I already have him. And if that's 5, then Wilkie, Roberts, Parker. Out of these guys, I'm not sure. I think it might be Wilkie, because I think Parker, anyone can jump in that North Melbourne back line. Do they bring in a Riley Hardman or a Taylor Goad? I think he's a halfback. I don't really know North Melbourne players. Archie Roberts got Redmond coming back in, Farrow, and it's really cheap touches. Wilkie, I think, is the only one with a solidified role, and he's their most important player, I reckon. And so I think he might be D6, but you have no idea. You've also got Holmes coming in. That messes things up a bit. So could be Ash, could be Cal Wilkie, could be anyone really. And so I think this is the team going into next round. As I said yesterday, Jackson, VC, Gorn, C. And I'll quickly have a look at the injury list, because it's always a good thing to look at before you finalize your trades to see what's happening. Adelaide, Keen's closing back in. Hinge is also closing back in. So if you own a Worrell, they're coming back. Might affect Worrell's scoring. Calamachi is set to come back after since round 2. This frees up a lot of space it takes a lot of space from Rochelle in the forward line, meaning he can play more midfield. So it could really affect Rochelle's scoring, but in a good way. I think similar is Alex Neil-Bullen also coming back. Brisbane, you've got Answorth in concussion protocols, Gallup in concussion protocols. Why can't they tell us when they're due to come out of concussion protocols? Because that would be useful. I think they're both recent, of course. But both of them are defense. I think Ty Gallup, they were moving him down defense. I think they moved him back up forward. But Oscar Allen's out. So Oscar Allen, Noah Answorth, Ty Gallup. Does this mean Zane Zakostowski comes back in? I think it's a very strong possibility. Carlton, nothing. Collingwood, nothing. Essendon, Jai Caldwell's a test. Might come back in, might not. I would tell them not to push it. Sardis, with 34 disposals, 10 clearances in the VFL. Unlucky to be dropped. Even the AFL knows it. Brad Scott, come on, please. Come to your senses. Or get fired. Or come to your senses and then get fired anyway, because you're shit. Fremantle, nothing changing. Brandon Walker doesn't affect anyone. Sam Darcy's still 2 to 4 weeks out with a calf. Geelong, Brian Myers is a test, even though I thought he did his ACL. Very lucky man. But nothing else here. Toby Conway is still TBC. Gold Coast, Matt Rouse a test, which is interesting for me or for someone like me who owns a lot of Suns midfielders. Giants, Lee Kalia with an ankle. Jesse Hogan test. I think there's not that much here. Hawthorn, Will Day, 2 to 3 weeks. Please come back and do well. Flynn Perry is nowhere to be cited. Melbourne, Aiden Johnson test. Trent Rivers test. Interesting for maybe those who have Jack Steele. Maybe he eats into Jack Steele's mid-time a little bit. But I'd assume he'd start in the VFL. Jake Bowie back in the VFL. Does he come back? Affect any? I don't think we have any D's halfbackers anymore. North Melbourne, LDU is a test. If LDU goes back out, because Wardlaw is probably going to come back in. LDU goes out. I think Tom Myers keeps his place. LDU comes back in. Maybe he loses it. I hope not. I'd hope they'd get rid of a Tom Powell, because Tom Powell has not been that good recently. You never know. Tom, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name because I'm going to screw it up and have a lot of angry people at me in the comments. He's a concussion test. He's probably not going to come back in the team. Don't think he's even played a game yet. Richmond, a mammoth injury list. Tim Taranto test. A lot of people a couple weeks out. This is good for Richmond players. Of course, Tom Burton gives him good job security. So does Sam Cumming. Grills can't seemingly benefit off this, but hopefully Cumming can. St Kilda, Angus Hastie's a test. Eamon Armstrong a test. I barely heard of these guys before. Isaac Keeler a test. Does that change anything? I don't know. Sydney, no one really soon. Tom McCartan in a couple of weeks. Brody Grundy might have a rest. This is saying. Interesting. Peter Adams. If Peter Adams comes back in for the next couple games, does really poorly, but they still play him for the next 2 games, eats into Brody Grundy's ruck time, he could drop a bit more, and I'd be hoping for that. West Coast, no one really soon. Brendan Starcevich, Archer Reed, nothing really there. And the Dogs, Connor Buderick a test, Riley Garcia a test, a couple weeks out on some of their key defenders, so I think Buslinger should be a good pick. And Bont carried a knee injury, but is expected to play. Hopefully he does. And does Connor Buderick affect the likes of a Bailey Dale, who's been doing really good since Buderick has been out? But anyway, that is the end of the injury list, and that will be the end of the video. So comment down below your trade plans, who you're thinking of going. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm going to end the video by saying, if Luke Jackson doesn't have a good score, or if Luke Jackson has a good score, and then Zane Zekaskelski is playing, and I can't loop Jackson, and then for some reason Gawn shits the bed, I swear to fuck